Over the past decade, the WWE Championship has changed hands a fair few times. I'm Chad from Bold Prediction Wrestling, and this is the top 10 WWE Championship wins of the past decade. Before we get into the list itself, let's talk about some ground rules. In this video, we are only talking about the win itself and the build-up that led to it. Anything that happened after the win will not be taken into consideration in this list. With that said, let's get into it. Number 10. Bray Wyatt, Elimination Chamber 2017. Back in February 2017, Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match to become WWE Champion for the first time in his career. During the match, he would eliminate then champion John Cena and former champion AJ Styles. This win was a big surprise to viewers, as Bray Wyatt had never won a main championship prior to this, and Cena had only just regained the championship at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view the previous month. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, then tag team partner Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble match to guarantee himself a match at WrestleMania against the champion of his choice. Not many people would have guessed his opponent correctly heading into this show. Number 9. Roman Reigns, Survivor Series 2015. After Seth Rollins had to vacate the WWE Championship due to injury in the latter half of 2015, a tournament was held to crown the next champion. The final and semi-finals will be held at the 2015 Survivor Series. Early in the show, Roman Reigns would beat Alberto Del Rio in one semi-final, whereas former Shield brother Dean Ambrose would beat Kevin Owens in the other. The two former Shield members would meet in the main event of the show to crown the new champion, and it was ultimately Reigns who would win this match and win his first WWE Championship, even if it would only last 5 minutes and 15 seconds before Sheamus kicked his head off and cashed in Money in the Bank. But we said that wouldn't impact his position on this list. Number 8. Drew McIntyre, WrestleMania 36. At the start of 2020, Drew McIntyre was gaining some momentum as he headed into Royal Rumble season. During this time, then WWE Champion Brock Lesnar announced himself for the Royal Rumble match and claimed he would win from entry number 1. Skipping ahead to the Rumble now, and after Lesnar had eliminated the first 13 men in the match, he was toying with Ricochet before McIntyre's music hit. To everyone's shock, McIntyre eliminated Lesnar after a low blow from Ricochet. McIntyre eliminating Brock from the match was one thing, but McIntyre went on to win the match from there. McIntyre said he wanted the WWE Championship and Brock Lesnar at Mania. McIntyre would go on to beat the Beast, but unfortunately for McIntyre, WrestleMania 36 happened in an empty arena, meaning no fans were there to see this crowning moment. If fans were in attendance, then this championship win could have been higher on our list. Number 7. Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam 2014. When I say the words squash match, I imagine a few names come to mind, but then 15-time world champion John Cena might not have been one of them. It was SummerSlam 2014 when WWE World Heavyweight Champion John Cena went face-to-face with the man who ended The Undertaker's streak, Brock Lesnar. This match was built as the biggest fight of the summer. No one, and I mean no one, could predict what happened. Brock Lesnar squashed John Cena. With a whopping 16 German suplexes and 2 F5s, it was safe to say that John Cena was in Suplex C. You could argue that given how many suplexes were hit, that it took a lot to keep John Cena down, but when you see how little offense Cena got in, then it tells a different story. Number 6. AJ Styles, SmackDown Live 2017. Before we go any further, we have to say that we are extremely biased on this one. November 2017, 2 weeks before Survivor Series, where WWE Champion Jinder Mahal is set to face off with Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. SmackDown comes to Manchester in the United Kingdom, with a main event of Jinder Mahal versus AJ Styles in a WWE Championship match. Jinder Mahal had held the championship for around 6 months and everyone was begging for him to lose it, but no one believed it would happen on an episode of SmackDown in the UK. That's exactly what happened. A phenomenal forearm followed by 1, 2, 3, and we had a new champion. The championship reign of Jinder Mahal was over and better things were on the horizon. Number 5. John Cena, Royal Rumble 2017. Sticking with AJ Styles in 2017, it was earlier that year he'd face off with John Cena at the Royal Rumble. Heading into the third match between the two, then WWE Champion AJ Styles had the momentum behind him where he came face to face once again with John Cena. It wasn't to be on the night for Styles though. After a show-stealing match, John Cena would walk out with the championship, becoming a record-tying 16-time world champion, matching two-time Hall of Famer Ric Flair. It is for that stat alone why Cena is so high on this list. Number 4. Kofi Kingston, WrestleMania 35. Ah yes, Kofi Mania, a championship win that could arguably be higher on this list. It's difficult to find a place to start with this one, but let's give it a go. In 2018, a heel Daniel Bryan won the WWE Championship from AJ Styles and was set to defend in a rematch at the 2019 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. After taking care of Styles at the Rumble, a few weeks later on SmackDown, Bryan would throw the WWE Championship in the trash and present a new, sustainable championship, which looked amazing. Bryan was then set to defend his championship in the Elimination Chamber match against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, and Mustafa Ali. Prior to this match, however, Ali would suffer an injury, and it was New Day member Kofi Kingston who would take his place. Arguably, this was when Kofi Mania started, as on that same night, there'd be a gauntlet match between all participants where Kofi Kingston lasted over an hour in a star-making performance. At the Elimination Chamber, the fans were behind Kingston as he and Bryan were the final two in the match, and they exchanged big moves. It was Bryan who would ultimately get the win here though. Following this, Kingston would pin Bryan on an episode of SmackDown during a 6-man tag match and earn himself a championship opportunity. Or so he thought. Vince McMahon had other ideas and replaced Kofi Kingston in the match at Fastlane with Kevin Owens. On that night, McMahon set Kingston to the ring and put him in a match with The Bar. On a future episode of SmackDown, Vince McMahon agreed to give Kofi Kingston another opportunity for a championship match at WrestleMania if he can run another gauntlet against Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Rowan. Kingston managed to complete this task before McMahon added a final opponent, Daniel Bryan. This added participant turned out to be too much for Kingston. McMahon decided to give Kingston another opportunity for a match at WrestleMania if his New Day brothers could run the tag team gauntlet. Big E and Xavier Woods would win the gauntlet match, which involved a heartwarming moment where the Usos forfeited their place in the match as they believed Kofi Kingston deserved it. It was finally time for Kingston's first singles match at the WWE Championship, and it was on the grandest stage of them all. Kingston would finally win gold after beating Bryan with Trouble in Paradise. Number 3. Seth Rollins, WrestleMania 31. The main event of WrestleMania 31 pitted WWE Champion Brock Lesnar against Royal Rumble winner Roman Reigns. Heading into this match, fans were split on what they wanted the result to be. They felt like Roman had been pushed too hard as the guy and it was too soon for him, but unlike Brock, at least he'd actually be on weekly TV. Former Shield member and Mr. Money in the Bank Seth Rollins had his own match at WrestleMania 31 against Randy Orton, which he would lose after Orton reversed a curb stomp into an RKO. It's main event time, and little did we know, history was about to be made in a big way. After a lot of back and forth between Roman and Brock, the match could have went either way, but it was a moment when both men were down in the ring that the story would change. Seth Rollins' music hits. He's run into the ring, briefcase in hand. For the first time ever, someone was going to cash in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, but this was bigger because this was during the main event. Rollins officially cashes in and makes it a triple threat match. A couple of minutes later, he would pin Roman Reigns and become WWE Champion. This moment will forever continue to be known as the heist of the century. Number 2. CM Punk, Money in the Bank 2011. June 27th, 2011. The day of the pipe bomb. CM Punk would cost WWE Champion John Cena a match against R-Truth before getting a mic and sitting at the top of the ramp. Punk broke the fourth wall as he called out Vince McMahon and questioned why he wasn't pushed as a top guy. He went on to suggest things like the WWE would be better once Vince McMahon is dead. Moving forward to July 17th and the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. The main event was John Cena defending his WWE Championship against CM Punk, whose contract with WWE was set to run out at midnight. McMahon threatened to fire Cena if he lost the championship, whereas Punk said if he wins, he'll take the championship all over the world to different companies. This match goes down as one of the best of all time. During the match, Cena hits a couple of attitude adjustments which fail to keep Punk down for 3. When Punk hits Cena with the go to sleep, it starts to get out of control. CM Punk gets distracted by Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, which resulted in Cena locking in the STF. Vince McMahon decides to take advantage of this and signals to the ref that Punk had tapped. Meanwhile, Laurinaitis was going to ring the bell. Cena, who saw what was happening, let go of the hold and attacked Laurinaitis. Cena gets back into the ring, only to be hit by another go-to-sleep, which results in the match ending and Punk winning the championship. McMahon was obviously not happy and ordered Del Rio to come to the ring. Earlier that night, Del Rio had won the Money in the Bank briefcase and was looking to cash in. This was before he got a kick from Punk, who then made his departure from the arena, blowing a kiss to Vince McMahon on his way out. Number 1. Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30. Let's start with SummerSlam 2013. John Cena versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Bryan would beat Cena to become champ before special guest referee Triple H would attack Bryan and Randy Orton would cash in Money in the Bank. And here began the Authority. The Authority would screw over Bryan time and time again. From special guest refs to alleged fast counts, the Authority tried everything to stop Bryan becoming champion, as they didn't believe he could carry the show. Bryan decided to go after Triple H to prove he wasn't just a B-plus player. This encouraged Bryan's supporters to take over Raw and hold it hostage with the Yes movement. Fans believed that the 2014 Royal Rumble would be Bryan's time to shine, but was soon disheartened when he wasn't even in the match and a returning Batista won. Roll on WrestleMania 30, and the first match of the show was Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, with the winner advancing to the main event between Orton and Batista. After kicking out with a pedigree and trading counters with Triple H, Bryan would eventually pick up the win. After the match, however, the Authority would strike one more time, attacking Bryan's injured arm with a steel chair. Main event time. And with triple threat rules, some of the match took place outside the ring. Daniel Bryan had momentum and fans behind him as he dropped both opponents with a missile dropkick before hitting them both with his signature kicks. Later on in the match, Batista and Orton would go at it again before Bryan would take advantage and lock Orton in the Yes Lock. This prompted Stephanie and Triple H to come out and pull the official out of the ring to stop the match from ending. As this match was no DQ, Bryan attacked the replacement ref, then hit him, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon with a suicide dive on the outside of the ring. It was at this point that Orton and Batista decided to work together. They hit Bryan with a combo of the Batista Bomb and the RKO through the Spanish announce table. The end of the match sees both Orton and Batista get hit with Bryan's signature running knees before Bryan locked in Batista in the Yes Lock and made him tap. The night ended with fireworks, confetti, and Bryan holding both championships in what we believe to be the best WWE Championship win of the past decade. What did you think of our list? Were we right or completely wrong? Let us know in the comments below, and until next time, cheery bye.